So anyway, welcome to 2024. I'm going to be playing some Overwatch for Fun Day Monday later tonight. And right now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Overwatch for 2023 year in review. I just want to change the title here. This will be Overwatch. I guess we should put the 2 in there. Overwatch 2 2023. Alright, so yeah, I've been thinking about Overwatch since I've been playing at the end of the year, and some good things have happened, some bad things have happened. 2023 has been a mixed bag for not just Overwatch, but a lot of things. And I think I will start with for the year 2023. I'm going to list the things that I think were bad for Overwatch, and then list the things that are good. Start with the bad and then end with the good. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Mauga, whether he's still shit or getting better, or he's too powerful. I don't know. It's really hard to tell with that character. And then updates I'd like to see in 2024. I know that I'm not really going to talk about what the developers plan to do, because I don't really believe it until they release it. So their roadmap is fine. It doesn't line up with some of the things that I would like, though. So, well, some of the things they've said. Anyway, let's start with the bad. So, first of all, the bad stuff. Let me get a background here. I'll just go into Overwatch. Yeah. First of all, the bad things are, the obviously the biggest one is the no PVE experience rug pull that they said they were going to give a PVE experience, and then they did not do that at all. And they basically said, yeah, we couldn't do it. I kind of feel like they knew that from before Overwatch 2 started, but they finally admitted it and basically had to deal with that news. Why can't I get into the game? But yeah, they said they were going to do this PVE experience. I didn't really actually care too much whether they did it or not. But if they were going to do it, it had to be the RPG, leveling up your character, getting new skills and getting new challenges with enemies. It was a big thing to add to Overwatch, and really it should have just been a new game. And that's instead it shouldn't even have been Overwatch 2. They should have just kept Overwatch as Overwatch, and they should have made an Overwatch PvE experience from the ground up so that they could design the heroes similar to the way they put them into Heroes of the Storm, where, yeah, it's got the theme and the abilities, some of the abilities of the character, but it doesn't have to have the same 3D kind of, gameplay as Overwatch did. And I think that's where they went wrong. They were trying to keep it like Overwatch, but then add on all these level up abilities and stuff that would only apply when you're in the PvE experience. And then you could go back and still play Overwatch like you regularly do. That to me sounds like two completely separate games, and I'm sure they could have shared the art, but the actual functionality of the gameplay, they should have just made a new game and had a new team working on that new game, and then just kept the old team working on the current Overwatch of what we have now, and just not try to call it Overwatch 2. But that's my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think about that topic. To me, it was a bad thing for sure, because you shouldn't promise shit that you can't deliver. But on the whole, I didn't really believe they would be able to do what they said they were going to do anyway. So to me, it just didn't seem feasible. And then the other thing, well, there's a few things, I guess. Sorry if you hear the cat meowing in the background, but the cat has some issue that she wants dealt with. I have no idea. I know she has food, so I don't know. Anyway, so the second thing that was bad about 2023, and this is kind of like, they didn't really promise this, so I can't really blame them, but I was hoping that by now they would have been able, if they hadn't spent all this time on the PvE and then failing at it, they could have had a guild system in the game by now. And that is more in line with what the game is all about. It's about teaming up and playing as a team. So why is there no guild for us to join and group together and build teams and go and, every meet up, like a calendar every week, and practice playing together as a team? And why isn't there tournaments that either run by the company or run by players, dedicated players who want to set up tournaments in the game that they can have invite only or open to everyone, and then have certain people come in and play and join with their team, check for to see if anybody's smurfing and put them in the right ranks and all that stuff. It would be something that the player base would love, and that they could police themselves, and it would be a lot better experience than what we have, where Blizzard tries to do it with whatever resources they apply to the game. Granted, it's still pretty good for what they do, but it's a team-based game. Why don't we have team-based stuff? Abilities to team up better than just looking for group. Also, I would like in addition to that, like if we had a guild and we had team building, I would love to have named teams and team-based progression. So your team progresses and not necessarily, well, I guess also your own rank would increase as well, but the team should be able to progress in rank so that people are dedicated more to the team than to the individual players, because it really makes a huge difference about how the team does based on how the team is built. So that kind of stuff should have been in there from Overwatch 1 days, really. It shouldn't. I don't know why it's not. Next item on the list that is on the bad list. I should have called this the naughty and nice list. But the game has now been out for 8 seasons as Overwatch 2, which is still just basically Overwatch 1 with one less player on each side. But the game has now slid back into the regular Overwatch 1 grind of just waiting for the next small change and then waiting for the next hero or the next balance fuck up, and then as fast as they can fix those fuck ups. So things like when they've thrown in heroes so far, they've thrown in Sojourn seemed pretty okay. It was a bit OP when Sojourn was first added, but that was added along with two other heroes, so it seemed okay once you kind of balanced out the fact that healing was so bad at that time, and it really sucked to play a healer in the first 2 seasons, maybe even 3 or 4. And then when they started adding heroes like Ramatra and the flower guy, what's his name, Lifeweaver. The Lifeweaver release was kind of like underwhelming, and then they sort of played around with the balance, and it kind of sorted itself out over time. But I never really liked the character because it was just so hard to play him as a healer. I really liked the pull back ability, and I thought that was going to be a huge change and that people would use it for griefing, but it turns out people didn't really use it that much for even good or bad purposes. It just seems like a nice save feature, pretty much like the Baptiste lamp. You just throw it out and hope it saves somebody. I haven't seen anybody trying to pull people off of the map much with it. So I thought it was going to be a griefing ability. It never turned out to be. And a lot of people just don't play that character because there are better healers. So I mean the hero balance, and then they did Malga. I'll talk about him in he's sort of in the good and bad category, so I'll talk about him in the bad section. So yeah, the balance just seems it's just going back to normal like Overwatch grind. At first, I didn't like the 5-person team, and then for the first season it was like I went really low, and then in the mid few seasons I got like a weird bug where I just couldn't get out of like bronze 5. I just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there and stayed there for like at least like I would say maybe 30 games. I just got stuck there and it just wouldn't fix itself. And then finally they fixed something, and now I've managed to pull out of for at least tank and healer. I'm still stuck in there as a DPS, but I just don't play DPS that much anymore. It's really more impactful to play healer as a DPS. So that's that. But yeah, when they just keep changing things, it isn't. The game is like smoothed out now, so there aren't so many like game breaking bugs, but it's more now just the grind and the awkwardness of certain heroes who are still like just haven't had any updates, and they haven't got to all the old heroes to make them more like other Overwatch 2 heroes. So characters like Zenyatta, although he did get a few little buffs, he still doesn't have a movement ability or an escape. So he's just this like glass cannon. They even nerfed his one of his orbs, and so it just doesn't do as much damage, but it I agree it was necessary, but it's just he's just still kind of having a hard time, and that's my main. So that's why I complain about that one. But there's other characters too like that who just don't have the bunch of things that some of the new heroes have. And they basically each new hero seems to have like almost every ability, and like the tanks cross over into healing, and the healers cross over into DPS. It's like the old heroes still haven't caught up with some of that stuff. Like each of the new healers has some kind of escape ability. And I just think the other old ones need it too. The next thing on the list of bad items from the 2023 is a bad monetization. So let me just see if the okay, well the background is not showing right now. Let me switch over here. Okay, so you can see me over here. So if you can see the shop, this shop still sucks. Like look at these skins. This is the best example of crappy monetization. This single pack just has 2 skins in it, and it's half off, so it's normally 6,100 coins. These coins are like basically 1,000 for 10 Canadian or so, 10 US I think. And so 1,000 of these, so take off a 0, that means this is $60 for these 2 skins. That's ridiculous. These are nowhere near worth that. Nothing in this game is worth that much. Like there's just nothing. And like these animations and video intros, like they're fine, but they're not like whoever sees these charms. So useless. This thing, you see this occasionally, like is it really worth it to put this in a pack? Player icons, like I hardly ever change my icon. You know, and there's only one. I can only show one at a time. So getting a new player icon is like I use this thing. It's hardly ever going to change unless it's better than all the other ones I already have. Sprays, like it's something you do in the waiting room. Hardly ever do it in game. You know, victory poses, like you see that for like 5 seconds. These things are the only thing that's important is the skins, and even that you don't even fucking see this. You don't see the skin. So why is it like a ridiculous amount of money? It doesn't make any sense. And to be honest, like I have better skins than this already, so why would I pay for this one? I got all these other ones for free. And this like ugly sweater, like yeah, okay, it's Christmas, but I'm not gonna pay, you know, $30 for an ugly sweater. Like I wouldn't pay for that even in real life. The only reason you get an ugly sweater is because someone gives it to you. So why don't they just give this to us? Like even here, the half price, you get it for like $12. Come on. And I already have the soldier because that one came in Overwatch 1. These things, weapons, like okay, at least these things you'll see more often, but this is gonna look weird with the skin you already have. Like Mercy in the Aphrodite skin is gonna look weird with this bluey staff. It's just gonna make the game look worse. Formal wear, these ones for this stupid winter pass. Like this is the worst way to deliver these kind of things. Like it's Christmas, why didn't you just give these to us, or not have a paid pass version and make it so we can get all these skins just by playing? Like I've played all of these things, but if I wanted all this crap I'd have to pay for the premium, and I still wouldn't even get everything. Luckily I already have these 2 from the previous, because I play StarCraft. But you know, I'm not gonna pay even like 90 tickets, whatever this is. I have 80 now. I might buy this one, but I just to use up these points. Like I don't care about these formal skins. You know, this, or I might get the McCree one, but I never play McCree or Baptiste, so really what's the point of me even, like why would I buy this pass? Like you could think if you wanted to make some more money, make the stuff in the shop cheaper so that I might actually buy it and make it better. Like why None of this stuff is good. The whole Christmas thing, the previous Christmas ones were way better. I don't even like that skin, and I got it just because it was in the battle pass. Like these ones are cool. Look how good these were when they came out. Like I would have paid, like I don't use Hanzo, but let's say someone I do play, I wouldn't have paid for that one, but I wouldn't have paid for that one. This one though, I would have paid like maybe $3 to $5 for this. Right? Just sell them for cheap. Sell all the stuff for cheap and then let everybody just buy it. Like, look, 1,000 for this crappy one. Actually, this one's not bad. I kind of like this one, but still, 1,000. That's like $10. You know, I have these points. I spend it on the battle passes, but only because I have these extra points that I earn from doing, you know, the just playing the game basically, doing the battle pass and playing enough to get through. Oh yeah, doing the challenges, getting challenges. So I get it from this, right? So you are weekly. Oh, someone's inviting me. Anyway, that's the bad. Okay, I'm probably gonna join that, but let me just do the last one. So the monetization sucks. Like, just make it something so that we can buy something. If you're, you know, you're so into the cosmetics, but you want to get something, make it a reasonable price. Don't make me pay ridiculous money just to get one stupid thing that I won't even look at in a week. Why would anyone pay this money? I can play the game for free. Alright, well, looks like I'm going into a game. So I am going to pause the story there, and then I'll get back to it afterwards.
I can't hear you.
So I'll go back on, I got one more thing on the bad list, and then I'll go back to it. To continue with the Overwatch 2023 year in review, I was talking about the bad monetization stuff, and so I think I made the point there that basically all the stuff that's in here is not anything I would find worth buying, and I only buy the battle pass just because it's got a bunch of stuff in it, and it's only 1,000 points, which I can earn from in-game uses. But yeah, I bought it a few times as well with the pass. Anyway, the final thing of 2023 that was bad for Overwatch was, and this is arguable, but the Overwatch League died, and that was kind of sad, but I didn't really watch it that much, and it wasn't done very well, and the pandemic kind of killed anything that it was trying to do. I don't know if that would have succeeded either way, because they wanted to make it like a sport that you go out and buy tickets to and go to see in a stadium, and as much as some games have managed to do that, like StarCraft, I don't think that's just a thing that people are going to do, especially now after the pandemic. Sporting events are sporting events, and they have to be in person, and video game events don't have to be, so why try and force it into that? And making the teams travel and all that stuff, it just doesn't make sense. So that was that, and then the teams that were purchased had to pay out such a huge sum up front. It was ridiculous. They should have had some kind of profit sharing. It just didn't make sense to sell it that. Like, it just was so hyped that it just didn't live up to it. It was super hard for it to live up to that too. It just was not going to be such a moneymaker. But I am sad to see it go because it was kind of cool to have a Overwatch team in your town. If they could have figured out how to make that better, so that you could go out and watch your team play another team that didn't have to be there, that might have been cool. I might have gone to see that. But to be honest, it's still just something that is kind of more of a streaming thing. So I probably would have watched it if it was streaming and if I got points for it. I don't know. I'm not really too sad to see that go, I guess. So that was on a middle ground, kind of whether it's bad or good that League is gone. I would have liked the thing that they should have had in League is they should have had a way to get into competitive playing of the game for lesser skilled people, like had tournaments for all of the ranks and done things to like kind of show people or get people together where people can train how to play better and stuff like that. It just, I don't know. It didn't work the way it was. There was no path to pro, even if many of us would never get there anyway. It would have been nice to have something that you feel like you're in the like they do with hockey. Like if you play hockey and there's like obviously the pro teams, then there's like the farm teams and the junior league, and then there's just people who play pickup games from the weekends for fun. Like there should be something like that in this game if you want it to be like a sport. Now, on to the good stuff that happened for 2023. We got to say goodbye to Bobby Kotick. Or more of like a get the fuck out, bitch. At least that's what a lot of devs and players think. He was a disruptive force in the world of Overwatch and possibly some other games as well, like Warcraft. But he pushed his agenda onto Overwatch in ways that kind of wishy-washy. He wanted to do one thing and then they switched the dev team to do another thing. Like I work in the game industry and I've worked in the game industry for many years, and that's a common thing that people who aren't game developers who come in to kind of run companies, they kind of try to use it as their personal I'm a game developer kind of thing, and thinking that they're smart and they know how to do everything. And he kind of pushed the game in ways that caused some of these downfalls and some of these issues that happen in the bad section, as well as covered up sexual harassment and stuff like that for his friends. It was pretty crappy guy. And unfortunately, when we say goodbye to him, he made out like a bandit with hundreds of millions of dollars to sell out his ownership of the company and or whatever it is, CEO of the company, sold out, collected the shares and all kinds of things for being involved in that process. And so he sold it off to Microsoft and then got his big cut and share whatever. He had some stuff in his contract that said if he left the company, he'd get all this stuff. So that happened, but at least he's gone. Under Microsoft, their stance so far has been positive, and they have said that the company should just run things as they have been if it's been successful, and they're not really poking their noses too far in to make changes right away, at least. I feel like they will at some point, but it may not be. I'm hoping that they'll be maybe making the monetization of the game better so that more people can purchase stuff and feel good about it. That's something the devs mentioned they wanted to do, but so far they haven't been able to do that. And I'd really like to see that. I think it would be really good to have Microsoft use a bunch of their knowledge about how to do these kind of transactions, although they've done some shady things in the past too, so can't exactly think it's going to be all roses. But the Microsoft purchase, I think, is a positive thing as well, so I think I'll count that in the good category. We'll see, I guess. It remains to be seen. Another thing that's been good this year is regular hero releases are back, and content has been coming out in the form of maps and other playable content, which is kind of like the weekend diluted version of the PvE that they had planned, with a little bit of power-up stuff in it, but nothing compared to what they had promised. So that's been good mostly. Just having regular content coming in is fine, is good regardless. It's too bad that so much of it shows up in the shop. Not right now, but before they had some good stuff in here for skins. I don't know about this one. Looks kind of cool though. But yeah, most of it's in the shop, most of it's overpriced. So basically, I've made a decision that I won't buy anything from the shop. So anything that's in here is not even worth looking at. But hopefully, Microsoft will make some changes because they're really only concerned with their Game Pass. And so if you buy the Game Pass, I'm hoping that these games in Blizzard will be worked into that Game Pass, and then you won't need to buy stuff in the store because they'll be just getting a monthly payment from you anyway. We'll see if that happens. The other good thing that happened this year is that finally the Band-Aid is off for the developers to stop hiding shit from us. The fact that the PvE part was going to be canceled before Overwatch 2 was even pushed out is pretty clear now. And now at least they're able to make frequent updates and have conversations with people, with the community, instead of just trying to cover everything up and being forced to say the bad news whenever the devs have been forced in front of the camera to make statements for bad decisions that the upper management has put upon them, and then they have to go out and explain it. And that's a shitty thing to do. If you're gonna fuck up the game, you should at least go out and, let them know yourself that it's your decision. So, I mean, it's been mostly positive for 2023. I think, despite all the bad things, I think the lawsuit is. I don't know anything about it, but I think it's finished or near finishing on Blizzard, so that probably will be good, so they can get out from behind that. And with Microsoft behind the helm, I'm sure there'll be a lot more stringent, if there isn't already, stringent policies for not allowing that to ever happen again, and better working conditions for the devs. I'm sure that's on the plate for the Microsoft leadership. So if that doesn't happen, then I'm sure we'll hear about it, because it seems like every time a company screws up these days, we hear about it, and that's good because it keeps them honest. But I don't want to be hearing about it so much that I feel like companies should just calm down and treat their workers properly. This starting 2024, I hope a lot of more companies just start doing that. Back to Overwatch. So I want to talk about Mauga now. So the update on him is they did a few changes to his kit so that he is a little bit less powerful with the shooting, and he can heal a little bit better. I don't know what else they did. That seems like pretty much it. So they did some modifications, made him a little bit less of a he still can do a lot with just having 2 chain guns. It's a lot, especially up close with large targets. So he can be a tank killer, but he doesn't. his lifesteal isn't that high, and he doesn't get a lot if he doesn't have healers supporting him. So I'm still on the fence about Malga. He's cool and useful in situations where you know they're gonna have to come to you, and you know you're gonna fight close up, small, like with small sight lines and stuff. Maybe those flashpoint ones he's pretty good in. But generally, I would probably pick almost anyone else unless the situation seemed like it would be a good one for him. He seems easily counterable by picks. So, although I have found it's not necessarily true if the healers are helping him. But Ramatra is a good choice against him. Roadhog seems to be, but then he's also really easy to shoot, so I'm not sure if that's still true. Diva, I find, is good against him in the fact that she can absorb some of the damage, but you have to be a pretty good Diva to maneuver around his shooting and get around behind him, so he has to turn and shooting you and not shoot the others. So you got to manipulate a Malga player pretty heavily to get him to not just walk in shooting. But that is what most Malgas do, so he's not really useful as a ranged character, even though he has a ranged weapon. It just doesn't do enough to be considered a ranged poke. So he really just has to get in close. And that's where he can often get easily countered if he's in close and you have things to, like Anna's nade so he can't heal, like stuff like that. He can be easily countered. He doesn't have a lot of armor health, I think. Does it show stats anywhere? Yeah, it just shows what the abilities do. But yeah, if you see him in game, he doesn't have a lot of armor. Just regular health. He has healing, a healing ability. When cardiac overdrive, nearby allies take reduced damage, and heal by dealing damage. Oh, I get nearby allies take reduced damage and heal by dealing damage. So I guess if they do damage too, then they get healed. Huh. Gain a temporary health when dealing critical damage. Oh, he just naturally gains his temporary health when dealing heal damage. Or when dealing crit damage. And when he... So if he has them on fire, then he automatically deals critical damage to burning enemies with this gun. Okay, that makes sense. So he can do more damage and get health from it, even without cardiac drive. Okay, so he can be good. I think he suffers from the same problem as Roadhog, where he's a tank that needs to deal damage, and he's not a tank that can really defend his team other than just by being a meat shield. And he's pretty beefy, so that does make some sense. But yeah, the jury's out on him. He's easily counterable if you pick the right heroes and you know how to use them. So I don't know. At my rank, the medal ranks, he's so-so. Now, I'd like to talk about some updates I'd like to see in 2024 from the devs. So, first of all, I'd like to see, and I don't know if this is coming, I haven't really checked the roadmap, but I'd like to see some team-based features like I talked about earlier. Guilds would be great. I think a guild similar to the WoW guild, or something like a basically what you need from a guild is you need something that you can set up games with people, set up times to meet, and have it translate into the person's local time, and then set up meetings so that you can get together, play the game, and facilitate building a guild and getting rewards from having making your guild better. I don't see why that's not in the game now, because they can already do that in WoW. And it works great in WoW. It works great for teaming up. It works great for raiding. all Overwatch is basically raiding. You get together with a party and you go do go up against another party. It's not even raiding really. It's just teaming up. That's all. That's all there is to the game. Is you get a team up. So I think just getting guilds in would be nice, but I also want to see if they can do like named teams where you are in a guild, but then you can also create a named team within the guild. So you're associated with this guild. Your team is called this, and then you invite people to that. Maybe the guild is the team. I don't know, but then you have this team, or maybe you can like base it by rank or something, and then you have a named team, and the team can gain SR and so on. Like as you play games, the team will get the rating of how well you did, in addition to the players, and then the players will get like their individual accomplishments. But maybe with the guild, they'll be more concerned about making the team work and building up the name of the team. And then at that point, then you can add things for team progression, just pretty much like you have in the progression for characters and heroes and roles. We could just add another one here for teams or guilds or something, teams and guilds. So I want to see that get in the game. That is something that I can just see fits in with all this other stuff. Maybe they've already got it working on it. Maybe it's in the plans. Maybe they just haven't even thought of that yet. But whatever it is, I want to see that soon in the game. I'm hoping this year. The next thing I'd like to see, and this ties into the bad monetization point, I want to see them offer something in the store that isn't overpriced that I would actually buy. Like, is that so hard? Can we see something come in here like once per season you get a skin in here? Like, I don't know, just try this out. Like, leave all these other crappy things you want to have, pick one of the skins and sell it for, say, what's a good idea, like 500 of these points, or discount it to 300, and then see if people will buy that. And you don't have to put a lot of work in. I mean, already these skins haven't had a lot of work put into them. Some of these skins are like old skins. Maybe just put up one of the old Overwatch skins, like one of these ones, and say, this month in the shop you get this skin for this cheap price. And then if that works and you make more money off that one cheaper item than you make off of any one of these in total, like points spent, and you have more of the community engaging with that price, and it still makes the same money, like, why not do that? Then more people are going to get to take advantage of these things, and more people will be happy when they make their purchases. That was one of the things you guys said you wanted. As Blizzard, they wanted people to feel good when they buy something in the store. So that's how you do it. You gotta lower these way lower than this, because this is just not. That's not a decent price. Nobody's willing to pay that. This you gotta always consider, like, if I could buy another game for this, why would I pay this much just for a single skin? Skins should be like, have skins. Have lots of skins. We don't care. There's already tons of skins in the game, and anybody who played Overwatch 1 got these from just playing the game. It was super fun, and it was just an additional thing, but it's not like so important that I have to have this one, Like, just make them. We hardly ever see them. We only see them in this view, and you don't see them when you're actually playing the game. The other people do. So really, it should just be cheap. It's not that big a deal. The last thing is I want to see for 2024 is I want them to fix Mauga. I think he and some of the other tanks aren't tanky enough, in that they need to be providing the rest of the team with something. Now, I'm not sure what that is. Healing doesn't seem to be it, though, because they've given healing to Hog, and it just makes him hard to kill, and that's unsatisfying to the other team. that you try to kill him, and then he comes back with his take a breather. The only thing you can do to counter that is to have an Ana on your team that can nade him. It's two rock paper scissors. I want to see like tanks that do more things like tanking, like I don't. It doesn't need to be like a shield. We got enough shields in the game, but maybe something like taunting or something where you make a taunt ability that someone has to attack you or they do less damage against. Like if you taunt, maybe they do more damage against you, and so then they'll want to do that, or maybe they just do less damage against everyone else. So it's a defensive ability that makes the enemy team do less, like something that encourages but doesn't force the players to engage more with the tanks. So because right now the only strategy to the game is kill healers first, then deal with the tank. And that's not fun if that's the dominant strategy. So fix those tanks that are like that, Malgan and Hog, and find some new mechanics that make it still interesting without everything turning into like just damage. Like Joker Queen doesn't feel like that. She at least has, but she still doesn't get like Junker Queen, Doomfist. Like Doomfist has a block. Junker Queen needs a block maybe. Sorry, Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball's the odd one. He could use some rework. Winston has a shield, Sigma has a shield. So the shield ones are all fine. They can have a way to block damage. The meat shield ones, Malga and Roadhog, are big, so they can block damage, but it's not really like them being able to heal just isn't the same as these guys can block damage and do something else. And Reinhardt is kind of outdated because he can't block with his shield and do another thing, whereas Ramatra can put up a shield and then also shoot through it. Same with Sigma and Winston. So I feel like Ryan is an old school tank that he still can't put his shield somewhere and then do other things. D.Va's similar to Ryan because she can only be using her defense. Well, she can at least fire missiles through it, so it's slightly better. But D.Va has a bunch of other advantages. So yeah, and D.Va's defense matrix, that's another example of a good way to mitigate damage without having to give yourself heal. Because she can use that to block damage. And it doesn't feel like you're having... I guess it kind of feels like you're getting something taken away, but you can... It's gameplay wise. You can play around it if you're good enough. You don't have to, but you could. So I think that's what we need for the game for 2024. And anything else in the game, like new heroes and skins, if it's going to be part of that monetization system that we've been using for so long, I don't care about it. I just want features that will help us team up and play the game and learn the game and learn to be better at the game. Those are the things we need. And balance. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to head out and get some sleep. But thanks for watching, and I will see you next Fun Day Monday.